It's interesting what's happened to them because the Spotify executive kind of summed up what many people think and called them effing little grifters.
Yeah.
Very unpopular in the UK now because they've basically trashed the royal family so relentlessly. What do you think of that?
I think it's awful.
You're a big family man.
I am. I think it's awful. I think if you have those kind of disputes with your father, with your brother, other members of your family, that's fine. Families fight, but they need to fight inside the family.
Right.
And I think when he decided to go public with all of that, and the only conclusion I can draw are two. One, that it was somehow cathartic for him. And he's obviously a troubled young man, and who could wonder about that because of his mother's passing at such a young age. But secondly, it had to be to make money. And I think that to trash your family for cash,
I totally agree.
I think is beneath someone who's been given all the honors he's been given over the course of his life. And so, but the good thing is, I'm hopeful that, you know, his father now has what he's always wanted. And I'm hoping that King Charles will be forgiving.
I think he's tried, but I think he's pretty much at the stage of washing his hands of him now because the attacks just
Well, that's
continue.
incredibly sad. If that's what it is.
I think you can't trust him. Every time he turns up, he just takes all the material he garners back and puts it in some other publication.
And if that's what it is, then you know, even as a father, there are moments where you just have to walk away. But I'll tell you, as a father of four, that it would be really hard for me to walk away from any of my children.
Yeah.
And if that's where the king is, it's a pretty sad place for him too. Not his fault necessarily at all, but a sad place for him at a moment in his life when he should be really pretty happy. He's got the woman he's always loved, and he's got the job he always wanted.
Let's go forward a bit. You knock out Trump, you win the presidency, Inauguration Day. What do you say to the American people?
That it's time for us once again to put our country first. It's time for us to put aside some of our differences and figure out areas where we can work together and compromise. And that the kind of president I would hope to be would be one that would be able to forge those compromises and sacrifice my own popularity to be able to make action happen.
Your mother said to you before she died that far more important to be respected than to be loved, because if you're respected, the love comes down the line. I thought that was really good advice.
It was great advice.
Would you take that advice into a presidency?
It's the advice I take into every day of my life. It's not just into my jobs. It's into the way I deal with my kids, too. I want to be someone who they respect in addition to someone they love. Because if they respect me, then they're going to come to me when they have problems. They're going to come to me for advice. They're going to come to me when they just need to cry. And that's the kind of respect that if I were to become president, I'd want the American people to know that every day I'd be working as hard as I could to make them feel that respect for me, but more importantly, for them to feel proud of their country. And I think there are moments now where Americans don't feel proud of our country because of some of the things we're failing to do. And I want us to do the big things. The thing that I always wanted when I was governor, I used to say to my folks all the time, don't tell me about how something will affect my ratings today. Tell me if it's something that really is consequential. I want to be a governor of consequence. And I believe I was. And that's the kind of president I want to be, to do the big things, to be a president of consequence.